Hello and welcome. This is going to be my first tutorial on how to mold and sculpt with clay. So to start off with, you've got your tools and your clay. You can use any kind of clay you want. I prefer specifically a type of clay that does not dry out very easily. Unfortunately, it lacks the ability to be cooked and made solid, but as long as you leave it to set, it'll hold its shape quite nicely anyway. You also want to pick out a set of tools. I personally like this set. It has everything I should need for any tasks. It's got drills, carving implements, and things to give the surface a texture. So to begin, you're going to want to take your block of clay and you're going to want to cut it to your shape that you desire. And just cut out the parts that you don't need and get a rough shape for what you're going to be doing. And you're going to want to try and cut it evenly, but don't need to worry too much about if you make a mistake or mess up anywhere. This is plenty early on to change up and add bits later, because you can always add something if you took off too much somewhere or need some more somewhere else. So you just want to keep carving out your clay until you've got kind of the idea of the shape you want. Now once you've carved out a basic shape for what you want, then you can start doing a carve just ever so lightly into it to make the outlines of more complex features that you might want to add later. Gives you a good idea of what you've got to work with. And it makes the next steps a little bit easier. And so now, if you got what you want to do in mind and you've laid out some basic details, you've got the general shape, now all you got to start doing is carve it down to the outline. Make it exactly how you want it from all angles. And this is the most time-consuming and difficult part, because getting the proportions right can be difficult, and you just have to kind of eyeball it. You can use any of your tools. If you get a large enough set, you can have all sorts of scrapers and things to pull out and dig out little cups in the clay and make any sort of design you may desire. And you can make it easier to do more complex shapes. And then let's say you've gotten further along than I have, and you've got it pretty much carved down to the basics, and everything you could possibly want is on there. Now it's just detail. All you need to do now is start adding maybe the finishing touches, clean up some of the rougher edges, and then at some point, you can start using some of your tools that you got to add detail. See? Some tools you can use to carve out straight lines, such as this. Others you can use to give the surface a very particular texture. Make it rougher and more coarse. Or you can use some tools to smoothen out the surface and peel away the layers until you've got it just so. This personally here is one of my favorite tools for whittling the finer shapes out of the clay. And now, all you have to do is choose what you want to make and go after it. And you can change it up whenever you like, and change it up however you like. And if you made a mistake, don't worry. If you, let's say you don't want to make it quite so narrow, just add more clay back onto the sides. If you want to make it shorter, cut a chunk off. If you want to and of course if you want to and if you want to perhaps make it taller, all you got to do is add some clay to the bottom or the top and just make it work. And if there's details that are going to stick out, you can mold the clay into the shape and stick it on. So let's say you want an antenna. Take the clay and roll it out. Now, stick it on and mold it and shape it however you need it. Make it as thin or thick as you want it. And there you go. Of course, if I had time, I could make these probably look a lot better, but this is just a basic how to utilize some of your tools and get started. That'll be it for today. Thank you very much.